We're going to install a pocket door right now. We thought we'd do a how-to video on this.
I'm Sarah, and this is Travis. We've moved 7 times in the last 6 years and are currently renovating our 3rd house with our 3 boys and our Old English sheepdog. Follow along as we renovate our house and raise our boys. Touch him! Subscribe and join us on our next adventure.
The kit we bought was from a local building supply place, but Home Depot has them real similar to this too, but it's a universal pocket door kit. Comes with all the hardware and the framework, but not the door. The door is separate, it's right there. It is a 30-inch door for this kit, and because it's a universal kit, we have to cut this down to fit the 30-inch door dimensions. Now your first step in a pocket door is doing the rough opening. The measurements and everything of that, really you just need to look at your instructions for the kit you buy. But for mine, I had to double my door width, which again, 30 plus 30 is 60, and then they said add 1 inch. So I am 61, and then I have an 80-inch door. My instructions told me to do that at 84.5 height. So I have made my rough opening here. All right, my first step is to take off this end plate. And now I need to cut this down to my dimensions that I have. You're first gonna cut, this is wood and aluminum here, you're first gonna cut the wood. Okay, now I need to cut the aluminum portion, and I need to cut it 1 3/8 inches back from the wood. Again, that's what my instructions directed me to do. My bracket can go back on now. This has a slotted hole on it, so I'm just going to put this screw in the middle of that slotted hole. And then when I get it up in place, I can adjust it as needed. Okay, I also need to cut the wood, just the side trims off of this side. This side is the door side. This side is behind the wall side. The doorway side, I suppose is how I should say it. Okay, my next step here, since I'm on subfloor, is to measure, again this is specific measurements for my kit, but it's to measure 81.5 inches from the floor up and put in a nail on both sides. If you can see this bracket here, that nail will go right in that slot. Really the purpose of this step is to place this at the right height. And it's slotted because your floor might not be perfectly level. And so once I get this up there, I'll put a level on it and make sure it's as level as I need it to be. And then there's other holes on here for more screws and nails. Alright, got that attached on there. I don't know if you can see it, but I placed a 2x6 or whatever you can use on the floor just to give me a straight line from stud to stud. And now I'm going to put in these uprights. So this is kind of a little unique part of this. It has these brackets that mount onto the floor and they slide into tracks that are built into these uprights. So you do one on the bottom, and then the top has these slit cutouts here for screws. So it's gonna go like this. So I ended up having to take this off to fit my tub in here because it will not fit through the doorway. So if you find yourself in a similar circumstance, don't forget to check that. At this point, now that I've mounted these and it's mounted to the floor, my next step is to put drywall on. But I am going to quickly assemble this door on here just to prove that it all works before I do drywall, which I would recommend you do. It is always a good idea. Next step here is to mount this bracket onto the door. This is the bracket that goes on top of the door, and then the rollers in this track attach onto this bracket. I'm going to have just a tiny problem where from top to bottom there's an 1/8 of an inch difference because my wall's not perfectly straight. But I'll be able to A, either adjust that out in my door, or B, adjust my trim with a shim and adjust that out in my trim. And I think that's probably what I will do. I'm going to tweak my hangers over just a little bit. Right now what I'm checking for is to make sure that the door doesn't rub on the sides. And it doesn't, but it definitely does lean one direction just a hair more than the other. The other thing that I need to prove is I need to make sure that when I have trim on here, and I have trim here, that this doesn't come out of the track. And I don't believe it will. Got about a 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch here. I think that's good. And then another thing to check is when you push your door in, you need to make sure that it's flush, which it will be more than flush because I'm going to have trim on this edge. So I'll make some tiny adjustments here on the floor, but I think I'm good. I think I'm happy with this. Okay, so this is where I'm going to leave you guys. Now that I've proven that this is going to work, that everything's square, even, I got to put drywall on these walls, and I got to get a handle, I got to put up my trim, and job done.